What's up, you guys? It's Taylor. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I do a bunch of fashion, lifestyle, and beauty content. This is a video that I've been so excited about for such a long time. It's all about New Year's resolutions and your goals for, your life and specifically the new year, and just how to help you get to those in a better way so you can beat that mental game. This is something that hits really home for me because my goal for the new year is to start broadening my online platform, and YouTube was the first attempt at that. So this right here is me starting that journey. So this is a video that's, me actually taking my own advice and putting it out there for you guys to see and hopefully learn something from it. But this is all about, a few steps that I take whenever I have something that I really want to reach, a goal of mine, and how I'm, the best practice that I found for myself. So hopefully you guys find this useful, can actually apply it to yourselves this new year as you're going into your goals and, trying to make the best of them. But I'm just gonna go ahead and start. There are 5 steps. So the first one is to make sure that when you're setting these goals, reach for the stars, but make sure if you are setting yourself in a timeline that it's a realistic timeline. So, for me personally, it's trying to expand my content throughout social media, other platforms, so I'm able to be my own boss one day. And this goal is something that I, realistically, I don't believe that I'll be able to be my own boss this year. Just something that I'm going to work my tail off every single day and not passively go at it like I have. But it's, you have to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure to start with. Failure is not a bad thing, but it's the biggest discourager that everyone has. So specifically with, New Year's resolutions, it's this year I'm going to. So it kind of implicitly has like a year timeline to it. So you can compare where you started in January and where you ended in December. So with you need to make sure that whatever goal you're going towards this year is something that, you're not going to look back and say, oh my gosh, that was so hard. Like, why would I ever do that? You need to make sure it's something that by the end of the year, you realistically think that you can see yourself achieving that goal. Once you've set that goal, the second thing you need to do is break it up into little increments or sections. So this is kind of, if you're familiar with Dave Ramsey at all and his debt snowball method, basically it's taking all of your loans and instead of just saying, I'm going to be debt free, you're saying that I'm going to pay off this one small one first, and then we'll work to the next one and we'll keep going. So if you are able to pay off that first debt, that's a huge win. Like, you pay off a loan. And the same thing applies here when you're setting your goals. You need to make sure that you are able to see these little wins, because that is what's going to help you beat that mental game. Your mind and the mental game is what holds most people back from their dreams more often than not. It's you thinking like, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fall on my face, I'm not good enough. You need to make sure that you're getting these small little wins to where those little wins they'll add up. Wars are won through battles, and if you can build out your battles and where all you're going to be conquering this war, you're going to reach that goal. The third thing you need to do is, once you know what your goal is and what your battles are, you need to write it down somehow, or visualize it, put it somewhere where you can see this goal every single day. If you are a planner, I love a list. I love organization, color coding. So I have a notebook and a planner that I carry around with me everywhere. Like, it's in my car, I have this one big purse that I just take everywhere. And this is where it's at. So if I ever have any ideas, I know it's there to write down. I can, visualize my thoughts on this piece of paper. Some people do that electronically. You've got a phone. You can write stuff down in notes. You can do like a motivational quote on your phone as your background to remind you every day of what you're working towards. You need to make sure that you can either visually see it, audibly hear it, whatever your learning method is. Make sure that you are utilizing that to your advantage and showing this goal over and over again, so you're constantly reminded of what your dreams are. Every little decision is going to either help or hurt you against this. The fourth thing you need to do, and I think this is by far the hardest, is to just start. Like I said, for me, it's, you know, this year I want to focus on building out a brand and, you know, expanding my online presence. And YouTube was one of those platforms that I've always been interested in. I've, you know, got a professional camera so I could film videos. I created an account and kind of set myself up for everything, wrote down video ideas, and then I did film, you know, about 2 or 3 of them, and then I just never edited anything. I got a Mac computer specifically with iMovie so I could edit videos, and never opened it up until 2 days before the new year, because I knew if I didn't start now, like, I really wouldn't, and then that would hinder me so much from the goal that I'm trying to chase. And, you know, it's a big fear point. People are so scared to fail, and they're so scared that they're just not going to make it, that they let that hold them back from even trying. And that was me. I don't like my voice on camera. I don't have many technology skills, any editing skills whatsoever. It took me 15 minutes to figure out how to cut a middle portion of a video. Like, there's a huge learning curve, and that held me back for so many months. So this is me just starting. So be gentle on me. Like I said, this is my first video, but if you have any points, any tips, any things that you see that I could benefit from, let me know in the comments down below, because your girl needs it at this point. Or just encouragement, that's always appreciated. But, you know, it's the mental game. Like I said, the mental game is what holds people back so much. And if you can just begin it, you know, nothing's gonna be worse than that first day in your mind, because it's something completely foreign and something you don't wanna do, but just do it. So the fifth and last thing that I like to do is just to remind myself that I shouldn't be afraid of failure. So I feel like failure and the thought of actually, you know, not completing something is what holds everyone back from chasing their dreams and attaining those goals. You know, living a life of what if is kind of the biggest fear that I have in my life, just looking back on my life and saying, if I would have done this, or what if I would have gone after this, you know, would my life have been different? Would I have been happier? You know, would I have been able to provide better for my family? I don't want to live life like that. So if you think in that perspective, you know, the fear of what if my life could have turned out different and provided me that happiness that I wanted the entire time, as opposed to the fear of what if I fail at this, you know, this one thing, it should very much outweigh that. And I think if people use that mentality, then they won't be as scared to go out and just fail. But even if you do, that's not a bad thing. You know, that's a learning experience. I know throughout my life, I've always kind of had this mentality of, I don't have regrets in my life. I don't have failure points in my life. I have learning experiences. So this is a good way to take something that people see as such a negative point of view and twist it to make it something so positive. And that kind of just changes your whole outlook on everything. Like, yeah, maybe this YouTube video doesn't work out. Maybe this one's a flunk and I'm out of focus, which I have already had to redo this video twice because I was. But maybe it just doesn't work. But this is one, and at this point, at least I know how to cut out a middle portion of a video in iMovie, because I've gone through and tried it out. I got my feet wet. I jumped in and I did it. You know, this is a good starting point. And once you get over that initial fear, you know, it's gonna lift that curtain so you're able to more intensely focus on going after your goals and just keeping that process going. I can always remember every summer with my family, we would go to the mountains, and there was this huge cliff and there was all the water, and you know, it had a nice little current going in the stream, and I was always so scared every single year to jump off of this cliff and go into the water because it was cold, it was high up, I was afraid I was going to be swept away. And I mean, clearly my parents thought it was fine, they let me do it, and I was always safe every single year. But right before I jumped, I always had this like gut-wrenching fear that I was not going to do well in the circumstances. I wasn't going to trust my own self to swim. And every single year I finally decided to get over it. I just went back and I ran full speed and I jumped off that cliff, and sure enough, I had a blast. Had a freaking blast. And that's kind of what is always in the back of my mind whenever I think of something like this. Like, it really surprises me that it took me this long to just upload a freaking video on YouTube and edit the video, because in my mind I have this goal that I want to reach, and I'm not the person to let it, you know, let my own mind hinder my goals. I'm usually the type that at least try it. So don't be like me and don't wait months or years or decades to start pursuing those dreams. You need to knock them out, go full speed ahead, and just chase after them and live that life that you're trying to build for yourself. So just to recap, so if you didn't watch any of the video and want to skip to the end, there are 5 steps basically that I apply to my life whenever I'm trying to pursue a goal to kind of help me break it down and beat that mental game. The first part is to just make sure that I have something reachable and attainable within the timeline I've set for myself. The second one is to break up that goal into smaller wins so you can beat that mental game and look at it in a more positive view and use that going forward when the times do get tough or you do get stuck. The third one is to write it down and make sure you see your goal in some way every single day. So that way you are reminded that every decision you make will affect that goal and your process in getting there in some form or fashion. The fourth thing is just to start, just to go out there and do it. The first time, first cut is the deepest. But as long as you start, you have already made the biggest step. It's really good to get an accountability partner or someone to share those wins and those learning experiences with you, just so you can have that extra bit of support within this journey. And the fifth one is just to make sure that you are not afraid of failure and that you take those failures and make them a learning opportunity and a learning experience and some positive impact in how you're going to continue forward. So that's the 5 steps that I use. Hopefully you guys have taken something from this video and you can actually use one of these 5 steps or utilize hopefully all 5 of them and go towards your goals this year. I would love to hear what y'all are trying to push for this year, what your resolutions are, what you're trying to complete by the end of this year, or maybe just in life in general, what you're working on. Maybe this can be a point of encouragement for everybody here to help each other out in whether it be a YouTube platform, or maybe it's just trying to be nice to people. Sometimes people are just in a negative funk and they need to lift themselves out so they can lift others out. Maybe we can do that, but hopefully this is a supportive environment for everybody, and I hope that I've been that for you as well. I'm so glad you made it to the end. If you did, please consider giving this a like or comment below anything. Subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna hopefully do a lot more like this in the future. Now that I've started this goal of mine, I'm gonna see it through for the rest of the year. But I will see you guys on my next one. Bye. Now, if this video is a complete flop, I still made a video. I now know how to cut out portions of a video in iMovie. Yay.